All right, let's talk about it. RAG versus TAG. You've probably seen these acronyms flying around, but what's the real difference? One's a master of documents, the other's a wizard with databases. And listen, if you get this wrong, your AI project could be dead in the water. So today, we're going to clear up all that confusion for good. So here's the big question that seems to trip everyone up. Let's say your new AI can query the company database. You ask for sales numbers, it gets them. Is that RAG? Well, the answer, it's not a simple yes or no. In fact, this is probably one of the most hotly debated topics in the AI space right now. But stick with me, and by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to answer that.
Okay, let's kick things off with the reigning champ, RAG. You can think of RAG as this, like, a super-powered librarian. It's got the incredible ability to find that one needle in a massive haystack of unstructured text. We're talking everything from messy PDFs to sprawling company wikis.
So why do we even need RAG in the first place? Well, because LLMs, they're kind of notorious for just making stuff up, right? Hallucinations. RAG is the solution to that. It basically turns every single query into an open book test. So instead of just guessing, the AI first has to go and consult a trusted library, your library, with your documents, to find the exact facts it needs. That's how you get a reliable, grounded answer. So how does this magic actually work? It's pretty cool, actually. First, it takes your entire library of documents and converts it into what you can think of as a searchable map of meaning. It uses something called vector embeddings to do this. Now, when you ask a question, RAG isn't just looking for keywords like an old-school search engine. Nope, it's looking for ideas. It finds the chunks of text that are conceptually closest to what you're asking about, and then it feeds those passages to the LLM as context. And the result? You get an answer that's not just smart, but it's also factually accurate. But what happens when your question isn't about finding something that's already written down? What if it's about creating brand new information? You know, if you ask RAG what were our top 5 products by revenue last quarter, it's going to draw a blank. And why is that? It's because that answer isn't just sitting in a paragraph somewhere. It has to be calculated. And for that, you need a completely different kind of genius. So let's meet TAG, Table-Augmented Generation. Okay, forget about reading documents. TAG speaks fluent SQL. It's basically an expert data analyst in a box. It's designed to translate your everyday natural language questions into the kind of complex database queries that can crunch the members and pull out the exact insights you're looking for. And you know, the TAG pipeline, it's really a masterclass in precision. It's a lot more involved. First, it has to figure out what you're even asking, mapping your words to the database structure. That's called schema linking. Then it has to meticulously build a perfect SQL query, validate it to make sure there are no errors, and only then does it actually run it to pull the raw data. And it's not even done. Finally, it has to translate that raw table of data back into a clear, concise answer you can understand. It's this whole multi-step process where there is absolutely no room for error. Okay, so this brings us right to the fundamental distinction between these two systems. It really all comes down to one thing: how they find the information they need to answer your question. This slide right here really gets to the heart of it. RAG is your librarian, right? It's an expert at finding the perfect passage in a huge library of text. TAG, on the other hand, is your data analyst. It's writing a custom formula from scratch to calculate a brand new insight from a sea of data. See the difference? One finds, the other creates. All right, let's look at the tail of the tape here. RAG is your go-to for unstructured data, knowledge management, right? Think of a chatbot that knows all of your company's HR policies in and out. But TAG, that's your secret weapon for the structured world of analytics. It's the tool you absolutely need when you're tracking sales figures and you need precise, calculated answers. So if it's so simple, RAG for documents, TAG for databases, then why is there so much confusion? Well, because in the real world, that neat little distinction, it's starting to get a little blurry. And this quote from Reddit, of all places, just nails it. The big mistake people make is thinking of RAG as just one specific technology, usually vector search. But RAG isn't just a technology. It's a bigger idea. It's an architectural pattern. And that pattern is changing the game for both unstructured and structured data. See, the RAG pattern is elegantly simple. First, you retrieve, then you generate. And that idea isn't just for documents. Imagine you're building a tag system for a massive, really messy corporate database. How on earth does the AI know which of the thousands of tables to even query? Well, it can use a RAG-like step to first retrieve the most relevant table schemas. This is the new frontier, you see. It's not RAG versus tag anymore. It's RAG as a powerful ally for tag.
So, after all that, how should you think about this? Let's boil it down. Here's the one takeaway you really need to remember.
This says it all, doesn't it? RAG reads the story your data tells, while tag calculates the numbers behind it. It's perfect. RAG reads the story, tag does the math. You need to understand the why behind the numbers? You're looking at RAG. You need to know the numbers themselves, precisely? That's a job for tag. You know, the future of AI here isn't going to be RAG or tag. It's clearly going to be RAG and tag. The most powerful systems are going to be both the librarian and the analyst. They'll be able to not just give you the numbers, but also tell you the story behind them. So the only question left for us is, what are you going to build?